Give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise to the mystic laws of the universe and its protective functions and forces in nature that guide our thoughts and our path in all ways that are lawful, correct, and positive. Give thanks and praise. The truth as we know it. Yeah, man. I must first say, the ancient them say, with the writing of books, there shall be no end. Yeah, man, with the writing of books, there shall be no end. And as such, we will always find ourselves with a plethora of information to the point where it's just too much. And that is a truth where I discover. We find ourselves saturated with so much information that it becomes overwhelming. And the truth is there somewhere, but it's it's hidden. Because the simple way is unpopular. So my point of view is this. My opinion. We all have those. A lot of the information that is being shared, we will come across, when most people apply them or, reach a level where them can at least make some effort to try some things. I've discovered some more side, if not all. Is commercial activity, and it's on a level where you have to literally assimilate within this commercial sea. But that is just my opinion. Where people talk about the birth certificate and a whole bunch of different things, but what we not necessarily do is see people are show, not just talk. Yeah, man, and some of the people them would try to show. Probably some of the information get lost within YouTube, so you might get a part of it. But what me kind of realize is that people usually promote, hey, the system is this and the, you know what I mean? And the birth certificate system and all of these things. But then promote it in such a way where for people who are just a learn, yeah, them are going to have one of them kind of negative energy there in terms of, hey, somebody defraud us and hey, the system, all of these things. Which can be true. But my point is this. If we can at least make an effort to comprehend what it is and apply the very same technology to this system. If the system I deal with commerce, I will know so commerce I deal with contracts, and contracts I deal with endorsement. And as the system is, there is no factual, substantive gold and silver coin, precious metal being exchanged as currency. It's all promise, negotiable instruments. And as such, any presentment is an offer to contract, So you can choose to acknowledge, accept, for consideration and value and return for the very same thing. So this is our basic comprehension of this whole thing. It's business. So I think if we find a way to remove emotion out of this thing and look at it for what it is, then at least we can start to try to figure it out and navigate. But when the people is being taught, oh, the government this and the government that, when the people collectively is what delegate the authority to the body politic. So the people would be the government, but it's being represented by delegates, or the very same people placed there. So if these people are public servants who take a public oath and have some form of insurance by way of a bond to secure their conduct, these people do it willfully. And if they are the public servant, it makes we the people the masters. It's that simple for me. I don't see no need to complicate this thing more than it already is. And that's the shortest distance between 2 points is usually a straight line. Hence, we just deal with commercial side of this business. We keep it simple. A summons is basically the request from the state bringing a charge or a claim against your estate. It's no different from sending you a bill, like the telephone company sending you a bill. Now remember, they say all debts are public, or all public obligations belong to the state. And the state make it clear, say, according to how their corporate charters are constructed, the state will make a claim on everything and anything until you rebut it. It's no different from what the Catholic Church did until you rebut it. So we get for comprehension, the YouTube world is one of those places where it's just that of the world. And to ascertain certain specific information, you're not necessarily going to find it there in YouTube like that. Yeah, man, you're going to find a lot of information where you might have to put together, remove the contradiction and whatever apply to your situation, then you make your effort that way. Every situation is different. It's like I'm in court for the right to be free, not the right to travel. You get me? None of those little Mickey Mouse things. All of those things are distraction. Travel. Freedom of movement is divine. Those are inherent, right? So the right to be free encompasses being free, just that, being free. And that's why we are here. We're not here for any kind of commercial tit for tat. I'm here to settle that, and by settling that, it demonstrates the The beneficial principal alone can endorse, can give consent, can choose the contract or not. It's all free will. So going into court, usually it's business as usual, where the prosecutor spew a lot of verbiage, probably garbage, because the prosecutor not have first-hand knowledge. So the first thing that if I'm willing to testify under oath that I as man has caused him damage or harm, or we have any kind of contract together, then let him speak. If not, him have to stand down. I object. Yeah, man. And usually because you guys are, well, some of you guys you have elected and you have appointed, but all of you guys usually secure some kind of oath. So we have to acknowledge and accept your bond and your public oath made under penalties of perjury. Yeah, man, by all public servants elected or appointed. And in order to proceed or move this case, I now require the name of you, resident magistrate, and if you have any insurance to secure this proceedings, and I'd like to know the name of that insurance company. In other words, I'm requesting your bond. You can put your bond on the table if you choose. It's a free will choice. You don't have to answer these questions. And I'll be also requesting right now the name of this so-called prosecutor and her delegation of authority to represent that man or woman who is bringing a claim against me, including her bond and that insurance company. And the very same for the court of clerk. Very same. So before we even move forward with your trial, I must have this information. I have a pen here, I have a paper here. Let's go. It's as simple. Yeah, man, because we now got really talk. You never can require nothing from me until you can demonstrate, say, this is who you are. If you're representing some plaintiff, let's see that appointment of power of attorney from your plaintiff. We don't mind seeing that. Because if we want a 2-day trial where we can go back and forth, we can play all of those games. I'm not interested. I'm just showing you we can play all of that game. Yeah, man. However, there is no controversy. We are here to settle. And we are here to settle only because it's in the best interest for all parties. Yeah, man. So a lot of information we get is just that, a bunch of information. When it's time for the application, it's something else. You can choose to function commercially within their system, or you can choose not to. And most of the application, most of what is being taught, most of the paperwork, if not all, everything is still commercial. The best set of document you can place is, when them send you any kind of presentment, especially for payment or a charge, you give them back a promissory note. You give them a bill of exchange. You return a document using that primary instrument, that juristic person. Yeah, man. Because that's all the state can interface with, your juristic persona, that legal entity, that all capital legal entity. That's it. So it's neither here nor there. You understand? People can choose to go down whichever path they choose. It's a free will choice. Usually, the path to destruction, it's many. Yeah, man. Whole bunch of people, especially the divas, the popular, famous people, to attract the sleeping ones, the ones that's unaware. It's a lot of distraction for you guys out there. Yeah, man. And I'm quite sure a lot of people, when they get the opportunity to move in one direction where they are trying to attain freedom, freedom in and freedom in, they'll easily be distracted for all of the glitter and the illusion of the commercial arena, of the commercial world, when they should be focusing on removing themselves totally. And if they have to choose to engage in commerce, it's from an outside perspective, stepping forward there, where you control whatever entity you have there. But people tend to subject themselves from one, that's a captor, to another captor, not realizing it's still captivity, irrespective of whatever privilege being offered, it's still captivity. My opinion is that the free man is outside of all of that, way outside all of that. The free man adhere to a much higher laws than these corporate charters. The free man view things differently. The free man concerns are different from those who are not free, put it that way. Because to be free, you have to just declare it and live it. You're not supposed to have to go ask permission to be free. You're not supposed to go fill out an application to be free. That's garbage. When you're free, you're just that. And you're free to speak as long as you not do no wrong. So most people will ignore the truth. And the truth is freedom, freedom in and freedom in. The truth is we are divine beings. The truth is we have to choose to evolve, to elevate, to rise from that level where everybody a try prove them identity. How long? Well, we're going to do that for what? 100 years? We know who we are. We are the living souls manifest in this earth as man. Now I was said man, man, woman, and child. We know who we are. We know when they come with this concept, the first view our body as that temple will house that divine spirit. But the moment the temple become polluted, usually the divine spirit depart from that temple. Now that temple become a vessel to be used as a transmitting utility in the sea of commerce. And the moment you're in commerce, you have to be recorded or tracked. So you have to have some kind of identifier, usually some kind of number. And as in ancient writing, they say you will not be able to do business, really commercial business, without this specific number. I heard it said you cannot do business also without this specific name. Now, I am of the view that this specific name is that juristic entity, that legal entity, that artificial entity, legal, artificial, that all capital name, that is, either say, that name will represent that mark. And that treasury registration number, tax registration number would be that identifier. Because every man and woman who is in commerce have a unique set of numbers assigned to him. The trick is that you can be assigned multiple numbers. So within even that public registration number, when you get to the Massachusetts Business Trust, there is what is known as you would call it a private identifier, which would be that QSIP number. And every one number is unique. Some people say the QSIP number is visible on the birth certificate. I beg to differ. However, I'm no pro here. It's just my opinion. Information we will share freely is where other people charge thousands of US dollars to disseminate, to share with their people after they pay those monies. I've seen where people are in a lot of these private groups, which I never discourage it. But they're paying a lot of money in this private group, and these very same people are within probably a month like my group chat. Very same people. You understand? And these people will never send a strength to the office because they never did. But what they do, whatever they pay for, they will come over me to hear me talk about a topic, or they will question me on a topic in order to get clarity. Probably just my opinion on the subject. They won't do it with the people where them pay all this money with, because those people have a whole lot of people I deal with. And when it's commercial business, their time is usually limited. And you will have to pay for those time. Some people every now and again, because it's only natural, they might say, hey, I'll give you a break here or there. When you pay me for the hour, we can chop it up for like 2 or 3 hours, and depending, especially if it's exchange of information. But most of the information I would say, to me, it's all just, a bunch of things where people are trying. You understand? And whatever success me see people say them have, me see them still there in a commerce. So a lot of teachers on YouTube that's been here for like 5 years, 10 years, even more. So I would ask, what is being taught? Because by now we should have a whole bunch of people talking, say, hey, freedom, freedom in and freedom in, and doing their own thing lawfully, honorably. But I don't see that out there. So what is being taught for all these years? These are legitimate questions. But people would dance around these things. It's a free will. You guys can choose. It's fine. For me, I have no interest to sit year in, year out for you to tell me I'm not African, I'm Indian. And when you tell me I'm not African, I'm Indian, you still disrespect the Indian because you still not acknowledge the man. Am I not man before I can claim Indian? Am I not man before I can claim anything? Isn't it written everywhere that whatever that creative power source is, it created man in its image and gave man dominion over all these things? So what is an Indian? It's just another label. It's just another term. That's what it is. The good thing about being Indian is that according to the corporate charters, their bylaws, when they are creating their construct, the Indians was here, not these Hindus. We were here, not no African. We were here. When them said Columbus come to America, Columbus came here in the islands. We were here. And when they talk about America, we're talking about all these islands that's attached to this continental plate. Charter of New England 1620, it shows you when this system came to the British side of things. And from there, they construct their corporation, call it the United States of America. Corporation, separate and distinct from America, the landmass. And after creating the United States of America, they went and created a federal district, which is Washington, D.C. area, removing the governance from Pennsylvania, which is the de jure area. And within that Washington, D.C., they created what is known as the United States, separate from the United States of America, and yet again, separate from America. And within this Washington, D.C., United States, they created what is known as the United Nations. Before it was called the League of Nations. And when that fell apart, they evolved to the United Nations, which is still a creation of the United States, which is still a creation of the United States of America, which is separate and distinct from America and its people. So when I am in America on the mainland and I say, hey, I'm not a citizen of the United States, then you resort back to what is known as a citizen or a national of the United States of America. Now the United States corporate cannot, rules and bylaws doesn't apply to you. And it's the very same thing on the island. When you remove yourself from being a citizen of Jamaica, you're going to naturally resort back to being what is known as a Commonwealth national. Now, the rules, regulation, and bylaws of the corporate government of Jamaica no longer applies. These are true. However, when you still adhere to a much higher principle and a much higher law, then not even the corporation, parent company, those things doesn't apply. And it's all according to their construct as we see it. We don't have to make anything up. We're already living in one of those illusionary states. So we don't necessarily have to make up anything. The moment you look in the public, just know it's a show. The moment you step outside your private verge, then you're stepping on a stage. This is why they say the world is a stage. We are all actors here, irrespective of how you view yourself. People say, oh, the state and their actors. Listen, we are all actors here. Yeah, man, it's just a matter of what role are you playing within this theater. You understand? Or if you choose to remove yourself from this stage, free will is just that. I am a free man. You understand? And the man or woman will sit as resident magistrate is just that, a man or a woman. Are you employed? Do you work for anyone? You know what I mean? So if there is any man or woman that have a verified complaint or claim that this man has done them any wrong, present that claim, man, and come testify on the oath, man. You understand? And when you can't verify that claim, no, say, boy, it's 12 times, whatever problem you bring to me shall return unto you 12-fold. This is the law of nature. And these things will put you guys in check to know, say, before now conduct on a fraudulent procedures. Just take stock on yourself, you know. Not everybody choose to be governed. Not everybody choose to be a slave. Not all of us. Yeah, man. We don't have no interest to engage in our commercial affairs unless we are choose to with our own juristic entity fully under our portfolio and control. We don't need a corporate body politic to administer our affairs. By what authority are you making those presumptions? I mean, present whatever contract that can substantiate a claim of administration. These are legitimate questions. So I think a lot of people are going to spend another few years going down a lot of different rabbit holes, while we're going to have a lot of teachers that teach, but what I'm going to teach is something separate and distinct from being free. You understand? I think most teachers out there are teaching, that's a commercial policy. You get me? Because there's no such thing as commercial law. That's just a legal term, I would say. But it's all policy, commercial policy. You know what I mean? And then you have policy enforcers, commercial policy enforcers, because it's all commerce, it's all policy. It's void of law. Yeah, man. When law is there is when you is there in your lawful capacity, standing on your own authority, which derive from the creator of nature, making your stance a divine stance, a lawful stance. Nothing to do with legal, nothing to do with legality, which is artificial. And that is just my opinion. So this is our truth as we know it. You know what I mean? So whoever choose can freely rebut it so we can learn. All this other back and forth is agent work, agent strategy to distract, to discredit, and to dissuade. Yeah, man. We not forget about the agents them that's placed out there. You have some of them will sleep for a very long time, and when them come and seems authentic. You have some of these agents them go to prison and come out and say, yeah, you know, them go through the thing them, but I won't even go there. I'll just say, listen, my opinion, too much distraction. My opinion will focus on that birth certificate information, but not in a way like how me hear a lot of people attack and now give them clarity. They might tell her the birth certificate is this and then hypothecate this and excuse me, and all kind of thing them I say. But them now tell us, listen, if you do this and if you do that and if you do that, it should be okay. They'll never tell you that. And as such, I say most people are disingenuous. It's one, either you're disingenuous, or two, you just do not know. You're just following what everybody else is doing out there. Acceptance for value with this and all of that. Watch me now. We don't have no interest in those games. So we just focus on what is at hand. And we take it step by step. Gratitude. Gratitude, as usual. Impromptu. Yeah, man. Truth, as we know it. You know, YouTube restrict our thing heavily, you know, so more time me have to just step out quietly and then make the thing populate on its own, you know. Gratitude. To God be the glory. And when we say God, we mean the creator of nature. Yeah, man. And when we say that represent the breath, that represent the breath, what you call the breath of life. Hawa. It just represents the breath. This is how simple our thing is. Yeah, man, take it or leave it. You can even choose to put your own twist on it. But it is what it is. Gratitude. Hawa. Gratitude.